So today is going to be a little bit different video, right? I want to talk about, before maybe, I've always been a person who was socially autistic. I like to call it myself back then, socially autistic. Well, socially autistic with girls and in people in general, because I was a person who was socially anxious, was just constantly overthinking everything. You know, what this person is gonna think about me. You know, how I look. Do I look great? Do I, you know, all of those type of things. Now, if I'm gonna go on a walk and I'm gonna see a person that I know from my class, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna just turn the other way? All of this, right? But the reason was that because the reason of this social anxiety and being autistic is just because I watched a lot of porn. I just played video games. I never really took my life seriously back then, and I was just constantly overthinking. My mental health was just shit because of my bad habits, because of my looks, and because of that I was socially autistic. But I want to tell you a couple of my stories, at least that one that I remember. I have three written, as you can see here. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about them. But if you don't know me, my name is Christian. I'm just a normal guy who wants to improve. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all this bullshit. But yeah, let's start. So, the story number one. This is the most common story was for me. So when I was going on walks, well, it wasn't happening that much because I was basically staying at home for most of the time, those couple of years ago. But when I was going on the walks back then, and I, for example, saw a person that I knew, right? So it could have been my friends from class, my classmate, or my mom's friends, right? My mom's friend. I was constantly overthinking, like, what am I going to say? Am I going to say hi? Am I going to just like pretend that I was on my phone? Am I going to pretend that I didn't see her? I'm just gonna go backwards. I'm just gonna go the other way. I think if you've been socially autistic, if you've been socially, or I like to at least call it socially autistic. When I was socially autistic, that was the most common thing that happened to me, because I was just constantly overthinking that what is this person gonna think about me? Am I gonna look good? Am I gonna say everything all right? I remember one story that probably happened to you most of the time, but in that in a minute. But this is what happened to me the most. I was going on walks. If I ever get out from the house, saw a person that I know, and I was just constantly, you know, overthinking, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? Am I gonna say hi? Am I gonna say this? Am I gonna pretend that I didn't see this person? I'm gonna pretend that I'm on my phone. It was just constantly destroying me because, listen, like right now I don't overthink that much. If I see a person that I know, I'm gonna say hi, hello, hey, you know. But my mental health was just shit, and I don't even know what to say. But the story number two, I'm not going to make a cuss here. Story number two is, you probably also had this. I was always in my room whenever guests were in my house, yeah? So you probably also saw this. You probably also knew this. When, you know, when I was a loser, I was sitting in front of my computer. I was watching YouTube or playing video games. Like, what else could I have been doing, right? And you know, there were guests in the room. There were guests like in the living room, and I was just trying to not. I was not trying to, you know, give hints that I'm, you know, in a house. So I was just not going from my room at all, or I was trying to like sneak into the bathroom or some other shit. I was just trying. I was like playing a fucking Call of Duty in sneak mode, bro. I don't know. I was just trying to sneak. And you may think that this situation and the last one I said, it's, oh, you know, it's not that big. But for me, when I think it's big, because normally, like, if you're going on walks, that if you see a person that you know, like, you normally say hi and give a little small talk. And if your parents invited guests, that you should always come out from your room and say hi to them and talk a little bit to them. But I did not do that. I was just constantly overthinking, and I was just analyzing too much. You know, my brain was just constantly analyzing. How do I look? Am I gonna present it good? What they are gonna think about me? You know. So you may think that it's small, that it's not that big, but for me it's fucking big because I just could not live, bro. Like it was constantly destroying me. I was living in this anxiety. I was constantly living in anxiety, and it was just tearing me apart. If I want to be honest with you. So another history number 3 is walking around the fence on school breaks. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but when I was going to elementary school, it was like early elementary school. It was first, second, third grade elementary school. We had this fence. So there was a school. This hand is a school, and this is a fence. And I was just walking around it. I swear to God, bro, there was 30 minutes break. That was the longest, and I could be doing a couple of lapses behind this, around this fence. And you may think that it's not that big, but bro, like stop that shit and go talk to your friends, bro. Like you're 8, 9, 10 or some shit. I don't know how old are you in those early elementary schools, but I barely was talking to anyone. Yeah, I was barely talking to anyone in elementary school. They say, oh, you're shy, but no, if you're a guy, you cannot be shy, right? Even if you're that age, bro. Guys in that age, you know, that 10, 11, like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, bro, they were already fucking confident, bro. But I was just not, I was just this little pussy. Maybe I'm just over-exaggerating things, but you know what I mean. I was just socially autistic. Last story number 3 is, I was so socially autistic, you know, that my mom wanted to order a pizza, right? And that was the worst because I was so socially autistic. I had this much social anxiety that, you know, I had to pre-write what I'm going to say to the person behind the phone. Yes, I was that socially anxious. I was that socially autistic. I was ordering a pizza and I had to pre-write what I'm going to say to the person behind the phone. If that doesn't scream social anxiety, I don't know what the hell does. So, what exactly are morals of this story? You realize that this being socially autistic, as I like to say, having social anxiety, it's just destroying you because you cannot do normal things like, oh, your mom tells you to order a pizza, like, oh, boom, your mom tells you what to order, or boom, you say, right? You say the address. But I had to pre-write things. Bro, or the most common things like going on walk and you're constantly thinking that if you're gonna see a person that you know, like what are you going to say or where are you going to go in my case, or walking around the fence and not talking to anyone for 30 minutes. If that doesn't scream being socially being autistic in those tips, being socially autistic, I don't know what the hell screams. This is perfectly describes me back then. What's the moral of the story? Social anxiety kills you. And how I managed to fix that, if you want a video about how I managed to get rid of my social anxiety, because I think it's gonna be interesting one, you can comment if you want this, but even if you don't want it, like I'm still gonna record it, bro. I don't care, fuck you. But yeah, so yeah, those are my stories. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. My Instagram's in the description. If you want to support my work, there's a link to buy me a coffee. And if you're a guy who struggles with porn addiction, trust me, brother, been there. Send me friend requests on Discord and I can, help you with this. But yeah, stay hard, because nobody will save you. The only person who can save you is the person I'm pointing right now. Peace out.